Moving on to topic number 2, and that's another guy. I mean, another guy that's, another young NBA superstar that everybody loves to watch, and we're talking about Luka.
Yeah, that's right. Luka Dončić, one of the rising stars in the NBA. He's already, I think, a top 10 player. Certainly will be even next season if he's not right now. And he's going to be one of the top players in the NBA over the next couple of seasons. But one of the things that he was talking about this week is that he doesn't see the point in this play-in tournament for the NBA playoffs this upcoming season. So, I'm sure a lot of people, if you watch the NBA in the bubble, they had the play-in tournament for the final seed. They had a couple of teams that were neck and neck with the record and were fighting for a playoff position. And then, I know like Bill Simmons of The Ringer and some other people have always talked about a play-in tournament for the last couple of seeds. So they're actually trying it this year. And what it's going to be is the 7 and 8 seed will play each other. And the winner of that game will get into the playoffs. Then the loser of that game will then play the winner of the 9 and 10 game. And then the loser of 9 and 10 will be knocked out. And then the winner of 9 and 10 will play the loser of the 7 and 8. So it's sort of like those type of games. I think it's 6 games between the two conferences altogether. So, it's a new way for the NBA to kind of bring some excitement to the last couple of seeds in the playoffs. And it's also, I think, because this season is shortened, even though it's only shortened, I can't remember, I think it's like 12 less games this year or something like that, because I think they're going to try to get in 70 because of the pandemic, that they're trying to, give a few more teams a chance because the season was shortened. Luka's saying, if you're the 7th seed, you've earned that 7th seed, then you get into the play-in tournament. If you have 2 bad games and you're out, what's the point of the rest of the regular season? So, I think that I get his point. I like the play-in tournament style. I think this is kind of interesting. I wonder if they're probably going to try to tweak it down the line and see how many games you're going to play. Is it going to turn into like a series, a play-in series, like a 3-game series with some of these teams instead of just a one-and-done type of thing? But I understand Luka's point as a player saying, we fought through the pandemic. We're in this condensed schedule. We're jamming all these games in. We're fighting tooth and nail. We're trying to stay on the court. You see all these guys getting injured during the season. And then, the 7 and 8 teams, they technically earn a playoff seed, but then they might get knocked out because of 2 bad games. I totally understand where he's coming from. I still like the play-in tournament, though.
I think this is a way of like the NBA trying to drum up more fans and more excitement, which I'm not really sure why, because I think the NBA has still been on the rise recently over the last few years, especially in viewership, along with the NFL. We all still love it. It's one of the premier leagues. So I don't know why they're looking to kind of just, get more viewers or more dollars, I guess it comes down to it, and draw more excitement with bringing in a tournament before the tournament kind of thing. But I totally understand where Luka's coming from as a player. And Mark Cuban actually came out with a statement as well saying he does not support the idea. So backing his superstar player there. But I think this comes to show that, the Dallas Mavericks might fall into that section. And I think that's why they're kind of already voicing their opinion saying, hey, we might be that number 7 seed and we've kind of already secured our playoff spot. But now we're going to have to play in this play-in tournament to kind of secure our spot even more. So it's kind of tough. And I get it underneath the shortened season. But I think if you're the 9 and 10 seed after 70 games, then you don't belong in the playoffs, in my opinion. And I know, like I said, it's only like 12 games less, like we talked about. But I'm just going to have to go with the player here and being like, after 70 games, if you haven't put yourself into playoff contention, it's kind of hard to give you that extra bone to kind of give you another chance to knock out somebody that maybe even have a record, maybe 8 or 10 games better than you. So I totally understand where Luka's coming from and Mark Cuban as well. And I think this is something, like I said, maybe I'd like to see Major League Baseball come up with something more like this where they're trying to draw more excitement or change the game to draw more viewers, because I feel like Major League Baseball is the league right now that is slacking and falling and needs something like this to draw more attention to it. So I'm just shocked that the NBA is kind of doing something like this. I'm going to watch it and we'll kind of see how it plays out. But I totally understand where Luka's coming from.
Yeah, no, that's a good point with Major League Baseball. They have that one game playoff for those last two playoff teams to get into the sort of traditional playoff format. And I think you're right. I think they could expand it a little bit more because they have the least amount of playoff teams that get in as compared to the rest of the pro sports league. So that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest things that they were thinking, on top of possibly trying to make a little bit more money, is that sometimes you have these young teams that, struggle in the beginning, and then, like a Memphis last year who almost made it into the postseason. You have a Jamal Murray who everybody's excited to watch. And they get to a point where they would be a fun playoff team in that 1-8 matchup where, the 1-8 matchup in the NBA always seems to be, it goes in like 5 games. It's usually 4-1, and it's kind of boring. So I think they're trying to look for new ways to kind of spice that up a little bit. But I understand this season it is tough for these players, especially with the condensed schedule and everything that they got going on. So I totally understand Luka's frustration.